This is not at all one of my usual filming spots, and I apologize that there's no interesting movement or scenery change to support the clip, but I wanted to find a natural spot to address an issue to do with the instability going on in Turkey right now. And I can't say for sure that I know exactly what will happen, but this country I have a fairly significant relationship with since I spent about 6 weeks there last year, ending ironically right on the day that the conflict really started to erupt in Istanbul over the proposed shopping mall being built at the same site of a former garrison, and somewhere near Taksim Square. I've been to the spot that is in dispute many times, and I think that even in some of the most evil scenarios, there are some very pure intentions involved. And I don't really like the philosophy of Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey. Sorry, this clip is blurry. I can see there, it's focusing. But I do believe, from what I've heard, that in the last 10 or 11 years since his succession, incomes have tripled and Turkey has modernized in a lot of ways. But as many people know, the instruments being used are to make the country a little bit more of a religious state in line with other countries in the region rather than a secular state with some communist underpinnings through Ataturk. And I must say that I really don't know the full history of Ataturk and the secularization that was implemented during those times in the 20s and 30s. But as a rule, most Turkish people support very enthusiastically the work of Ataturk as well as Erdogan, until these recent developments that involve restricting the sale of alcohol after 10 p.m., as I understand it, and just the overall crackdown on freedom of speech in Turkey. Although for the average middle class and emerging middle class Turk, there isn't a whole lot of impact on their daily lives except just knowing that there is a restriction of the freedom of the press and so forth. I think this came out in a few videos I had done last year. One tarot reading I did for an Australian woman indicated that she would potentially have to flee the country due to war. And it seemed kind of not feasible at the time. And a lot of my Turkish friends who are more centrist really dislike me talking like that. But it just feels like there's the makings of a lot of instability there. And that should never be misinterpreted as a dislike or disdain for the country as a whole. But it's a difficult life in Turkey. I was offered a job at a hostel, cleaning and just entertaining the guests a little bit in the evening. And this position, I think they offered me, I want to say 18 or 19 US dollars a day for 7 or 8 hours of work, which was in line with the national salary, the minimum wage. And most people in Istanbul, for instance, commute an hour and a half each way every day, and live in very cramped quarters with their family, extended family, in high-rise settings out in the suburbs or low-rise. And so if you have these kind of conditions with consumer expectations similar to Western Europe, that can only go on so long. It doesn't take very much to upset people and get things going. Okay, for chemtrail viewers, you can see perhaps the starting of some of that here, or maybe you can't see it, I don't know. Although today the sky is quite pure. For those of you who do know where I am in the US, I'm in the heartland, Kansas. Just south of us in Oklahoma, there have been some really horrific tornadoes in the last couple of weeks. And this is pressing on my mind too, though natural phenomena, there isn't a whole lot you can do except just extend your sympathies and send a little bit of money if you can. But the Turkey situation really brings to my attention that I think we are getting very close to an apex where human rights expectations might very well, there might be a demand for an expansion on this. I think a basic human right is to be in a place where you can't expect any sort of disruption of a feeling of safety and continuity. And so people, and I put violent protesters in with this as well. Any sort of disruptors of a sense of safety and well-being, there has to be some sort of rehabilitation expected. And this goes from working class people to the very top. Like, there's no excuse for disrupting people's sense of safety and a calm place for children to be. Children are the pillar of our society, and when I say our, I mean humanity as a whole. There should not be a threatening environment for anybody on this planet. And I hope that people watching can expand upon this in a way that's more articulate than what I'm saying right now, but I think you know what I mean, and most people watching have similar expectations. At any rate, just send well-being, glowing, warm light to the people of this planet, wherever they are, and particularly the distressed places. And for the most part, you can see this sort of expectation affecting things on the ground. We are told that things are more divisive and divided all the time, but in actuality, I think that well-being and good intentions are prevailing more than we think. So I appreciate your viewership and have a good evening. Bye.